Welcome to the Copperfield Electric Podcast. Today we're doing a deep dive into something quietly working behind the scenes in pretty much every home and business. Diligently protecting you from hazards you might not even think about. Circuit breakers.
That's right, those switches in your electrical panel.
Exactly. And today we're not just defining them. We want to uncover, the hidden intelligence behind what look like simple switches. Our mission for this deep dive is really to explore that crucial question. What are the different types of circuit breakers? And maybe more importantly, which one do you actually need for your home? And we're drawing on the expertise of Copperfield Electric. They're your trusted 24-hour electricians right here in Orange County, and a family-owned business really committed to safety.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here is how often these, vital components are just overlooked. People don't think about them much. Understanding them isn't just technical know-how. It's really about proactively safeguarding your property, your loved ones, from, real dangers like electrical fires or severe shocks, even damaged appliances.
Right.
So this deep dive, it should help illuminate why choosing the right type of breaker isn't just like good practice. It's absolutely critical for safety and for meeting electrical code standards too.
It's kind of that invisible layer of security for your whole home.
Exactly. Foundational.
Okay, I see. So let's start right at the beginning.
Right.
For anyone who maybe hasn't thought about this much, what exactly do circuit breakers do? Simply put, they're like these vigilant, rapid response guardians for your power, right?
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
They interrupt different kinds of electrical issues by just instantly cutting the flow of electricity, like tiny heroes in your panel.
Precisely. They're your absolute frontline defense against two main dangers primarily. One is overload. That's when you try to pull too much power through one circuit. Imagine plugging a space heater and maybe a hairdryer into the same outlet.
Ah, yeah. Done that. Lights flicker, maybe?
Or worse, the circuit's just trying to do too much work. The other thing is a short circuit. That's where electricity takes a dangerous unintended detour. Often leads to immediate, pretty intense heat buildup.
Okay, that sounds bad.
Oh, it is. Both situations can quickly escalate, sparking, melting wires,
Right.
potentially really destructive fires.
Wow.
So if they all do this essential safety job, if they all cut the power, why are there so many different kinds? That's the question, right?
That is the puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, as we're about to find out, not all breakers are the same, not created equal. Each one is engineered with a specific kind of specialized protective role. So we're going to dive into what the four most common types you'll find at homes, plus maybe a quick look at a fifth one.
Sounds good. Let's start with the most familiar one, the one probably already in your home right now. First up, standard circuit breakers. These are really the workhorses of your electrical panel. And they come in two main flavors, single pole and double pole.
Standard. Sounds straightforward enough, but then you say single pole and double pole. What's the difference there in practical terms?
It's a great question. So single pole breakers, they manage 120-volt circuits.
Okay.
These are for your smaller sort of everyday loads. Think lighting fixtures, your regular wall outlets, most common plug-in appliances that don't draw a ton of power. They protect against those basic overloads and short circuits on just a single hot wire.
Got it.
Double pole breakers, though, they handle 240-volt circuits.
The big stuff.
Exactly. These are essential for your really heavy-duty appliances, your electric oven, maybe a clothes dryer, central air conditioning, water heater, anything needing a big, dedicated power supply. Both types, single and double, they trip when there's too much current. Stops that dangerous overload or that immediate short circuit from damaging your system. Or worse.
Okay, so standard breakers cover the basics, the overloads and shorts.
Yeah.
But what about more specific threats? You mentioned water earlier.
Yeah.
That brings us to ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs.
Yes, GFCI.
These are specifically built to stop shock in wet or damp areas, right?
Yeah.
That seems like a huge safety issue.
Oh, absolutely huge. GFCI circuit breakers are actually mandatory by code in places like laundry rooms, bathrooms, kitchens, basements, garages, crawl spaces, and definitely all outdoor outlets.
Wow. Okay, so pretty much anywhere water might be.
Exactly. They're designed to detect what's called a ground fault. So imagine electricity flowing nice and contained, like in a pipe. A ground fault is when some of that electricity leaks out, finds an unintended path to ground.
Like through water.
Or, critically, through a person
Okay.
if they touch a faulty appliance or wire.
Yikes.
When a GFCI senses this tiny leak, this dangerous diversion, it shuts off the power almost instantly. We're talking milliseconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Milliseconds.
That speed is absolutely crucial for preventing severe electric shock. It saves lives. They are a cornerstone of meeting current electrical codes in these high-risk areas.
Makes total sense. So here's a question I hear a lot. Do these GFCI breakers replace those special GFCI outlets, the ones with the little test and reset buttons?
Excellent, very practical question. And yes, fundamentally they do. A GFCI breaker installed in your main panel protects the entire circuit.
Ah, okay.
So that includes all the outlets, all the lights, everything connected to that one circuit line. So instead of needing individual GFCI outlets everywhere.
Which can get kind of bulky or expensive sometimes.
Right. A single GFCI breaker protects the whole circuit right from the source, from the panel. It simplifies things, offers broader protection, and can make maintenance easier down the line. It's a really comprehensive solution.
That is smart.
Okay.
Moving on then, we have arc fault circuit interrupters, or AFCIs. Now, this sounds super important for fire prevention, but maybe a bit technical. What is an arc fault? Can you break that down?
Sure. Think of your home's wiring again. Electricity normally flows smoothly, and arc fault is like tiny, unpredictable lightning bolts jumping across a gap where they shouldn't be.
Go.
This happens when electrical current jumps between damaged or maybe loose wires. Could be insulation that's frayed behind a wall, maybe a nail accidentally hit a wire during some renovations.
Oh, yeah, I could see that happening.
Or even just an old appliance cord that's pinched under furniture. When the current makes that jump, it creates an arc. It's like a mini electrical explosion, really, and it produces intense heat.
Enough heat to start a fire.
Absolutely. Enough heat to ignite nearby wood, insulation, dust, whatever's combustible. It can turn a tiny hidden spark into a serious electrical fire very, very quickly.
Wow. Okay, so how do these AFCI breakers detect something that sounds almost subtle, like a little spark, and stop it before it becomes a fire? That sounds like really advanced tech for a breaker box.
It really is quite sophisticated. AFCI circuit breakers have electronics inside that constantly monitor the electrical waveform. They're looking for those specific irregular patterns that signal an arc is happening.
So they see the crackle, electronically speaking.
Pretty much, yeah. Unlike standard breakers that only trip on big overloads or direct shorts, AFCIs detect these more subtle but still very dangerous arcing conditions, the ones that often precede a fire. As soon as it detects that signature arc pattern, the breaker instantly cuts the power, stops the heat buildup, stops the potential fire.
It's incredible.
And because they're so critical for fire protection, AFCI breakers are now mandatory in most living areas of new homes. Think bedrooms, living rooms, dining rooms, hallways. Basically, the dry areas where ground faults might be less common, but arc faults from damaged wiring or cords are a significant, often hidden risk.
It's like having a tiny silent firefighter right there in your panel.
That's a great analogy. Hypervigilant.
Okay, so we've got protection against overloads, shorts, shocks from water, and now fires from arcs. What if you want? Well, the ultimate. Combine the best of both. That leads us to dual function breakers.
Exactly.
These sound like they literally combine GFCI and AFCI safety in one device.
They absolutely do. Dual function breakers offer the comprehensive safety of both. Protection against ground faults, which cause shock, and protection against arc faults, which cause fires. All in a single unit.
So what's the real benefit there? Is it just saving space in the panel?
Well, space saving is part of it, sure, but the primary benefit is really about streamlining and ensuring truly comprehensive coverage. Instead of needing maybe separate AFCI and GFCI breakers, or maybe an AFCI breaker plus GFCI outlets on certain circuits.
Right.
For a single dual function breaker handles both hazards completely. So if you're doing new construction or a major remodel or even just upgrading an older panel for better safety, these are highly recommended. They give you maximum safety, maximum electrical efficiency, and ensure you meet the very latest, most stringent code requirements with fewer individual components. It's kind of that ultimate set it and forget it peace of mind.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense for maximum protection.
Yeah.
Now, our fifth type, you mentioned this isn't typical for small homes,
No.
the air circuit breaker, or ACB. Who needs these, and just briefly, how do they work? Just so we get the full picture.
Right, ACBs, yeah, definitely not something you'll find in a typical house. Air circuit breakers are heavy-duty players. They're used where you need very high voltage protection. Think large industrial sites, big commercial buildings, maybe critical infrastructure like hospitals or data centers.
Okay, big scale stuff.
Very big scale. And their operation is pretty cool, actually. When they interrupt the flow of electricity, which can be massive currents, they actually use a blast of compressed air to literally blow out and extinguish the electrical arc that forms.
Wow, using air to put out an electrical arc.
Yeah. It allows them to safely handle and dissipate the huge energy involved in high voltage faults. They're essential for those critical systems managing enormous amounts of power. It just shows the range, from your kitchen outlet protection all the way up to industrial scale.
Fascinating. Okay, so now we understand these different types: standard, GFCI, AFCI, dual function, and the big ACBs. The big question for you, our listener, is how do you choose the right breaker or combination of breakers for your home?
Exactly. It's not just about knowing the types exist, it's applying that knowledge.
Right. What does your specific situation, your home's layout, your usage actually require?
Okay, so when you're trying to figure out the right breaker, there are a few key things to consider. First, absolutely, the location of the circuit. Is it a wet area like we discussed? Bathroom, kitchen, outside? Or a dry area like a bedroom or living room?
Location, okay. Makes sense.
Second, what's the type of appliance going on that circuit? Is it just a lamp and a clock radio? Or is it something beefy, like a electric vehicle charger or a big workshop tool?
Right. The load matters.
Definitely. Third, sometimes the age of your electrical system itself is a factor. Older wiring might have different needs or limitations, especially when you're upgrading.
Good point.
And finally, always, always consider code compliance and safety upgrades. Electrical codes change over time, usually to improve safety. So what was okay 20 years ago might not meet today's standards.
Can you give us some solid, real-world examples?
Yeah.
If I have this situation, I need that breaker.
Sure, let's try a few. Circuits feeding bathrooms, laundry rooms, kitchens, basements, garages, any outdoor outlets, those absolutely require GFCI protection. No question. Because of the water risk.
GFCI for wet areas.
Got it. For living areas, bedrooms, living rooms, hallways, dens, family rooms, those dry areas where people spend time, maybe lots of cords around, potential for damage. AFCI breakers are essential for fire protection. That's the code now in most places for new construction and often major renovations.
AFCI for living spaces.
Now, if you have high-use spaces, maybe a kitchen circuit that needs both shock and fire protection, or anywhere you just want the absolute maximum state-of-the-art protection, dual-function breakers are a great choice that cover both bases.
Dual function for max safety or combined risk areas.
Right. And then for those heavy-duty appliances we talked about, your electric range, your clothes dryer, maybe a central AC unit, a new EV charger installation, you're definitely going to need a dedicated double-pole standard breaker size correctly for that specific appliance's load.
Double pole standard for the big energy users. It really sounds like most homes then aren't just going to have one type of breaker. You're going to need a mix.
That is absolutely the key takeaway. Most modern safe homes will need a thoughtful mix of these different types to ensure complete protection across all areas and uses. You won't just have, say, all standard breakers anymore.
So how does a homeowner figure out that exact mix?
And that's precisely where getting a licensed electrician involved becomes so important. Crucial, really.
Okay.
They can do a proper inspection of your existing electrical panel, your wiring. They understand the current codes, both national and local. And then they can determine exactly which type of breaker is needed for each specific circuit in your home. They ensure everything is safe, correctly installed, and fully compliant with the National Electrical Code, the NEC, and any specific Orange County regulations. Think of them as like the safety architects for your home's electrical system.
That makes sense. So what does all this detailed info mean for you, our listener, practically speaking? How do you take this and, apply it confidently to your own home?
Well, that's where connecting with trusted local experts comes in, like Copperfield Electric.
Right.
Because, as we've seen, understanding the what's and why is vital, but actually implementing the right solutions, making sure everything's installed correctly and safely, that usually takes professional expertise. And Copperfield Electric, they're your go-to local experts right here in Orange County, California. They're dedicated to making sure your home's electrical system is safe, efficient, and completely up to code.
And they really cover a wide area, don't they? Making that expertise accessible.
They do.
Their service area includes places like Irvine, Anaheim, Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, Mission Viejo, really all the surrounding communities too. And they offer the full range of services, right? From complete electrical panel upgrades if your old one is outdated or unsafe,
Yep.
to replacing individual breakers that might be faulty or need upgrading, and also those really important safety inspections that can spot hidden problems before they become serious.
And you can really trust their qualifications and their commitment. Their electricians are highly trained, they're licensed, bonded, insured, all thoroughly background checked too.
That peace of mind is huge.
It is. And as a family-owned business, they genuinely care about customer satisfaction. Plus, they offer 247 emergency services because electrical issues rarely happen at convenient times, right?
So true.
And they back their work with a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
And they're experts in installing and upgrading all these types we've talked about today, the GFCIs, AFCIs, the dual function breakers, making sure everything meets the NEC and local Orange County codes.
Absolutely. So whether your home is a bit older and could really use a modern safety boost, or maybe you're planning new construction or a remodel and want to start off with the best possible protection, they can guide you to the right safe choices.
Okay, so let's quickly summarize then. Circuit breakers. They are these critical, often unsung heroes in your home, diligently safeguarding you, your family, your property from a whole range of electrical hazards, overloads, shorts, those dangerous shocks, devastating fires. And each specific type plays a vital, targeted role in that protection.
Yeah, and if you connect that to the bigger picture, it's really clear that picking the right circuit breakers and making sure they're installed correctly, it isn't just like a good idea or a recommendation. It's truly a fundamental pillar of modern home safety. It's all about that proactive protection, the kind that often goes completely unnoticed until something goes wrong and you realize it just saved you from potential disaster.
That really brings up an important question for you, listening right now. When was the last time you truly thought about those silent guardians in your electrical panel? The ones working 24/7 to protect your home, even when you're totally unaware. Or maybe think about it this way. What hidden dangers might be lurking in your own electrical panel right now, just waiting to be found and fixed?
That's the crucial question. So if you're unsure about what types of breakers your home has or needs, or whether your electrical system is really up to today's safety standards, please don't guess. Don't postpone it. Reach out to Copperfield Electric. Get a professional panel inspection scheduled or talk to them about an upgrade if you know it's needed. Their licensed electricians are absolutely committed to keeping your home safe, smart, and fully code compliant.
That's right. Remember, Copperfield Electric is available 24/7 for all your electrical needs in Orange County. Don't wait for a problem to announce itself. Take that step to secure your peace of mind and your home safety today.